Close Up is brought to you by the Kia Sorento R, redefining the power of Kia.
There are some things teenagers can't buy at the local dairy. Alcohol, cigarettes, even spray cans, but they can buy butane, a highly toxic gas that costs $7 a can roughly. In May, 12-year-old Darius Claxton died after huffing or inhaling butane in a car park. Tragically, he's only one of dozens who have lost their lives this way. Darius's dad told Johan Castaneda the deaths have to stop.
Why would a 12-year-old want butane?
I thought those things were used for filling lighters or using on a gas cooker.
Why did you sell that to my son?
It immediately goes to the centre of the brain and it's like turning a light switch on.
At the local dairy, a can of butane gas costs just a few bucks, but it's also costing young lives.
Losing a child so young is devastating.
Devastating to lose a 12-year-old boy like Darius Claxton.
He was fun-loving out there. He enjoyed a laugh, a joke. He likes to push the boundaries.
Pushing the boundaries comes with risk, and Darius was willing to take it.
Darius was here at this car park with two other friends, and they had a can of butane in which they'd purchased from a dairy 5 minutes from here. And Darius was the first to inhale the butane, and he's raised his arms and taken 2 steps backwards and fallen over almost immediately.
The ambulance was just around the corner, but that wasn't quick enough to save Darius.
I had the policeman knock on the door, 4 o'clock in the morning, and he said there's been a terrible, terrible accident. I came to the lounge and sat down and screamed, why? I tried to protect him.
2 of Darius's mates were first on the scene when he died. Today, Jason is meeting them for the first time.
It's not your fault, bro. You okay?
Yeah, no, you okay?
I'm all right.
I just called 111 as soon as I got there. I was freaking out, eh?
Why were you freaking out?
Waste of a life, eh? 12.
These boys are 14. They're too young to buy alcohol or smokes, but they can buy butane, the gas that killed their mate.
They shouldn't be selling it to underage kids anyway.
Is it easy to get your hands on?
Yeah, you can just buy it from any supermarket or dairy.
We sent a 14-year-old actor to buy butane.
Oh, yeah, that one. That one? Yeah. That one's $7.50.
At 2 dairies, he was able to buy it for less than $8 a can. No questions asked.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you.
At a 3rd dairy, our actor was asked to show his student ID. He didn't have it, so the shopkeeper wouldn't sell it to him. But the law says it's completely legal to sell butane to young people. There are no age limits on it. And yet, in the past 5 years, 30 people have died after huffing this gas, and many of them were teenagers. It's an issue that's been in the headlines since Nicholas Grant's death 7 years ago.
He was going for a job interview the very next day.
Nick had been huffing butane for about 4 months. An age limit on butane would not have prevented his death. He was 23. But his family joined Coroners' calls to restrict the sale of butane to over 18s.
Absolutely nothing has been done.
Darius was not living with his dad at the time he died. He was in the care of other family members. He'd had run-ins with the law, but Jason believes his son would still be alive if he didn't get his hands on butane.
Proof of age, some common sense.
I mean, they can do it on alcohol and cigarettes. A can of that stuff is a lot more dangerous than a cigarette and a bottle of beer.
Butane is not the only substance that's caused recent huffing accidents. Last month, 2 Dunedin teens were left with severe burns when the LPG canister they were huffing from exploded.
Somebody help me, somebody help me. He just burst into flames.
Jason says all parents need to recognise the signs of a huffing addiction.
There's aerosols, butanes, links, air fresheners. Don't let them close the room, and if you open the room and it smells like there's something going on there too much, then just ask them what they're doing with it.
After losing their friend, these boys say they and their mates will never huff. But Jason also wants Darius's death to leave a legacy in the law.
What will it take for the politicians to act upon this? How many more parents have to be put in my situation? I've got to live with this for the rest of my life.
Joining me now from Nelson, paediatrician Dr Nick Baker. Now, he's the chair of the Child and Youth Mortality Review Committee. What his group does is review the deaths of all babies and young people in New Zealand so they can spot patterns and look for ways to prevent a young dying needlessly. Dr Baker, many watching tonight will be actually shocked by the numbers who have died because of butane inhalation. I mean, you monitor all this. How common is this type of death?
We're seeing somewhere between 12 and 14 young people dying from poisoning each year, unintentional poisoning, and that's the second commonest cause of injury death in young people. And about half of those are related to butane and volatile substances.
The second most common cause of injury death, yet, to be honest, probably a lot of people would never have heard of this.
That's right, and I think that's a tragedy, and I think we need to be thinking about exactly the issues you've raised. How can we reduce access to these extremely toxic compounds?
Look, just on that, is there a danger of even you and I sitting here discussing this tonight, bringing up this subject? It might encourage other young people to go and try it?
I think there is a risk, and I think the take-home message has to be that there's only a very fine line between reduced alertness and death when it comes to these compounds.
You feel it is important enough that we have to get out there and tell people, but these warnings have come before. Why has no one listened to the coroner in the past?
I think this is an issue we really do need to address. We've taken the precaution of reducing access to spray paint in retailers to prevent graffiti. We need to think about what precautions we should take to save lives. With spray paint, they are not locked up, but you have to ask a shopkeeper to get hold of the compound, and you have to be over the age of 18. Similar legislation with regard to butane and other volatile substances needs to be considered, but that's really only one of the things we need to be doing.
Why the resistance to the restrictions?
I think one of the challenges is that these compounds that potentially are used for huffing are now available in a number of different compounds, but I think we've got enough evidence to say that butane is one of the leading toxic things that's doing this, and therefore we should take the steps to control butane. And already some retailers have taken voluntary measures to reduce access, and even without legislation, retailers can do that.
Will restrictions save lives, Dr Baker?
I think it'll save some. Western Australia, the United Kingdom have got these sort of restrictions in place. But I think it is a very challenging issue to address. If there was one easy solution, we'd have long ago done it.
Is there anywhere people, I mean parents in particular, can go to for advice if they think that their child, or if someone's thinking about their friend has a problem with this, where should they go to?
I think they should be very alert to those warning signs: dropping school performance, moodiness, unusual smells, spots around the face, and seek help early. So talking to school counsellors, the general practitioner, talking to just anyone to seek help and get advice.
Dr Nick Baker there in Nelson, we appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.